Our top focus. Since the war in Ukraine started almost 4 years ago, the West has repeatedly accused China of helping Russia's war efforts. In fact, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has even claimed the capture of Chinese soldiers fighting for Russia. The US has also accused China of providing very substantial support to Moscow's war machine, and yet all along, China has vehemently denied these allegations. It insists it does not supply lethal weapons to any party in the conflict. But today, a new report appears to blow the lid off those claims. An exclusive investigation by Reuters revealing Chinese drone experts have been working inside Russia at a state-owned weapons manufacturer that is under Western sanctions. This, according to two European security officials and documents reviewed by the news agency. These Chinese specialists have reportedly flown to Russia repeatedly. They have visited the state-owned arms maker under Western sanctions, not once or twice, but over half a dozen times since the second quarter of last year. And during that same period, by the way, Kupol reportedly received shipments of Chinese-made attack and surveillance drones. And according to the report, the shipments were routed through a Russian intermediary. The evidence includes business invoices and bank statements. And they show that Kupol received more than a dozen one-way attack drones from the Chinese drone maker. The supplier basically was a Russian defense procurement company. That company is already under US and European Union sanctions. In September last year, it was reported that Kupol had developed a new drone. It was built in China with help from local specialists. Now, there seems to be more evidence to support that finding. Specific details mentioning extensive involvement of the Chinese experts in tests and technological work on military drones inside Russia. And by now, we all know how drones are playing a decisive role in Russia's war efforts in Ukraine. According to Reuters, the Chinese Foreign Ministry says it knows nothing about this. In fact, in a statement, it said, and I'm quoting here, China has always maintained an objective and fair position on the question of the Ukraine crisis, never providing lethal weapons to any party, and strictly controlling dual-use items, including drone exports, quote unquote. But the Kremlin, the Russian Defense Ministry and Kupol are yet to respond on this. Remember, the United States and Europe have repeatedly warned about Chinese companies supplying Russia, and some of those firms are already under the sanctions imposed by the West at the start of the Ukraine war. And yet, the flow continues. In July, Kupol had reportedly started mass producing thousands of drones with Chinese parts, engines included. The drone is modeled on Iran's Shahed drone. It can fly hundreds of miles, lock onto a pre-programmed target, and then dive down to explode on impact. Ukraine saying Russia uses about 500 of them every month. And officials believe the Chinese shipments and visits could point to new projects, perhaps even new drone models. The report also citing a letter from the sanctioned Russian arms maker to the Chinese drone maker, showing that in the second quarter of 2024, the procurement company billed the weapons manufacturer for more than half a dozen drones produced by the Chinese company. There is also a corporate document from the Chinese maker that confirms deliveries of A140 and A900 one-way attack drones and scheduled deliveries of other models. What's more, the Russian company's own reports also describe flight tests of these drones at Russia's military test site. And Chinese experts were reportedly, they visited this facility, assembling the drones, training Kupol staff, joining test flights. Travel records showing, reportedly, they flew out of the region immediately after. Officially, they were described as employees of TSK Vector. But European officials cited in the report saying that they were Chinese technicians. By mid-2025, the Chinese company had billed Vector more than 5 million yuan. That's about 700,000 US dollars for A200 drones fitted with anti-jamming equipment and other supplies. Kupol's Chinese connections do not stop there. Another test report describing a different drone. This one made by Chinese firm Honan Hao Tianyi. In fact, it's a vertical takeoff and landing drone capable of surveillance, reconnaissance, and strike missions. The picture seems to be clear. Chinese expertise, not just influencing, it seems, but directly embedded in Russia's sanctioned drone industry. And at a time when drones are at the very heart of the war in Ukraine, the West may keep warning. China may keep denying. But the documents and the visits revealed in this report telling a different story. One that suggests China's role in Russia's drone warfare is far deeper and far more direct than Beijing is willing to admit. And as the war in Ukraine drags on, drones are not just weapons. They are game changers. China may well be shaping that game. Moving on for now, this week at the Delhi airport, a 13-year-old boy from Afghanistan was found inside the landing gear compartment of a flight from Kabul. He told officials he had climbed into the undercarriage out of curiosity. But what started out as a child's impulse became a harrowing journey. 2 hours at over 36,000 feet in sub-zero temperatures with no oxygen in a way, nowhere to move. Miraculously, the little boy survived. The boy hails from Kunduz and was later questioned and then deported back to Kabul on the same plane. But his story is a lot more about what happened. It's not just about a stowaway incident, really. It's about hope, to say the least. Hope for a better search of life, even when the odds are almost against you entirely. But we have seen such scenes before. Unforgettable images from 2021 when chaos gripped Kabul during the Taliban takeover. Desperate Afghans were seen clinging onto the wheels of a departing military aircraft, remember. Some fell to their deaths. It was a moment that shocked the world and is a haunting reminder of just how high the cost of hope can actually be. This is not an isolated case. In 2023, a man hid in the landing gear of a plane flying from Algeria to Paris. Despite the freezing temperatures and the low levels of oxygen, he survived that journey miraculously. A year before that, in 2022, a 22-year-old Kenyan man was found alive inside the wheel section of a cargo plane after landing in Amsterdam. He had endured a long, multi-leg flight through extreme conditions, to say the least. And in 2010, a 20-year-old Romanian man survived a 97-minute flight hidden in the landing gear of a Boeing 747. The plane flew lower than usual due to bad weather conditions, which likely saved his life, despite the extremely low temperatures. And going further back to 1996, two brothers from Punjab hid in the landing gear of a British Airways flight. Only one survived the 10-hour journey. The younger brother tragically died, fell from the aircraft as it approached London. These are more than just tales of stowaways. They are stories of survival, stories of hope. If you are in the market for a new home, New Zealand might be your answer. But just be prepared to invest millions over the next few years if you are serious about the plan. That is the opportunity that the New Zealand government is offering with its so-called golden visa, designed to boost a flagging economy. Let's tell you more about it. The country is rolling out the welcome mat for wealthy investors, and the response has been rather swift. Americans, Chinese, Hong Kong investors are lining up with lower investment thresholds, shorter residency requirements, and fewer restrictions. The nation is positioning itself as a safe haven for high net worth individuals. The new rules for the Active Investor Plus visa came into effect in April, lowering investment thresholds, removing English language requirements, and cutting the time required to establish residency from 3 years to just 3 weeks. And now, within a matter of months, Immigration New Zealand saying the scheme has attracted 308 applications. Before these changes, the visa attracted just 116 applications over 2.5 years. And Americans, interestingly, are leading the surge in New Zealand's golden visa applications, followed by Chinese and Hong Kongers. The next top countries, including Germany, Japan, Vietnam, South Korea. According to immigration experts, Asian investors are likely drawn by the lower tax thresholds and also the less bureaucracy in a way. Meanwhile, Americans seem to be moving to New Zealand due to the political climate under US President Donald Trump and uncertainty over social issues back home. All of these issues have reportedly made New Zealand an attractive, bold hole for wealthy investors. And especially in the case of wealthy Americans, there is a pattern. After Trump's 2016 election, visits to the country's immigration website rose almost 2,500%, 2,500%. When the US Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, visits quadrupled to 77,000. After Trump's 2024 win, US interest in New Zealand's property market surged again. But billionaires taking up residency or citizenship in New Zealand also coming with controversy. After the PayPal co-founder received citizenship in 2017, despite spending only 12 days in the country, former Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, remember, took steps to tighten the investment visa rules. And she also banned foreign home ownership in the year 2018. Citing concerns that foreign buyers were driving up the housing prices there. And then last month, the New Zealand government announced that holders of golden visas can now buy homes valued over $5 million. Under the new rules, basically, 241 applied under the growth category, requiring a minimum $5 million investment over the course of 3 years. And this makes New Zealand more attractive to potential investors because they can now invest in real estate for personal or family use, not just for business or commercial purposes. 67 applied under the balanced category, requiring $10 million over 5 years. Immigration has approved 39 applications, with another 197 approved in principle. Their combined investment is expected to bring New Zealand $248.8 million. And according to estimates, the business immigration could generate $5 billion per year for New Zealand, with an additional $5 billion boost from such property purchases. The visa changes are part of a series of policies rolled back by the right-wing coalition to boost the economy. And the other measures have attracted so-called digital nomads and also made it easier for migrant workers to move to New Zealand. As for the New Zealanders themselves, they seem to be leaving their country in record numbers, interestingly, seeking better job prospects and higher wages. Between July 2024 and July 2025, 73,400 left, while only 25,800 returned. It's one of the cruelest diseases known to mankind, a condition that runs in families. It strikes people in the prime of their lives and slowly robs them of movement, memory, identity. We are talking about Huntington's, which had no cure until now. It is often described as a mix of Parkinson's, dementia, and motor neuron disease. It strikes people in the prime of their lives, in the age of 30s or 40s. It slowly takes away movement, memory, speech, identity. In what scientists are now calling a spectacular breakthrough, doctors for the first time have successfully slowed down the disease. This looks at what could be a turning point in the fight against the disease. But in a new clinical trial, scientists in the UK have managed to slow down the progression of the disease by 75%, which means the kind of decline expected in just 1 year would now take 4. And this could offer patients the possibility of decades of good quality life. It is a breakthrough that left even hardened researchers emotional. One patient who had taken early retirement is now back at work. Others who were expected to need wheelchairs are still walking. Professor Sara Tabrizi, who led the trial, called the findings spectacular. She said that they never in their wildest dreams expected this. For families who have lived with the heartbreak of the disease for generations now, this moment offers a lot of hope, something that they never had before. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.